Our top 5 stocks that we're watching this week. Now, these are just stocks that we're watching, not a buy list. That's not a sell list. It is just a watch, wait, and see. There's some material events that might be happening that could cause some movement within these stocks. We might potentially buy them or we might not. It's just part of being a part of the watch list itself. So my first one that I'm watching is one that I've been in for quite some time, and it is IPOC. It's going to become Clover Health. So if you guys don't know anything about IPOC, it's been an amazing return so far, has done extremely well. I'm up, I don't know, around 40-50% on this thing. And I'll go ahead and share my screen with you, or we'll share our screen. And it's weird, man. I actually had to make some adjustments. So we just only have one window now, so instead of the two. But so looking at here, IPOC, you can see that my average is at 1197 on the Webull portfolio. It closed at 1677 on Friday, but has gone as high as 1720. So amazing move on this already. I think this could potentially go higher. Clover Health is moving in on this thing this week on the 6th, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I should have had that written down. I did not.
But it will vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be on the 6th. And so it is going to be quite the mover, especially if we... Yeah, that's okay. That's what I thought. So it should be quite the mover here. You know, this is a company where Google's involved, and I just think that we're going to see some really nice movements out of IPOC. Probably a similar move that we saw out of IPOB to at least getting to 30 plus. Now, I'm not going to say that IPOC will, but I think that there's definitely the potential there. Super small float. The share structure is great. We have a great company moving in. This is set to be worth somewhere around $3.7 billion, which is actually slightly under what IPOB was or Open Door. So I think we could see a really nice move out of this one. It's going to be a night for SPACs. I got another one coming up in this list, but I think IPOC could be a really nice mover this week.
You do? Oh, yeah, you do. That's right.
I do. Yeah.
I forgot. IPOC, yeah, man. The whole family of IPO, that SPAC.
Yeah.
Prefix we like. I agree with you. I think the response is going to be similar. So remember, it's January 6th and it's at noon. So noon Eastern time. Keep an eye on that. And I like that it's at noon and not like pre-market or after hours.
Yeah.
If you want to hang, I think it's an earnings play. I think it's a coin flip, and I do think there's going to be profit taking because there's been such a there's been a nice run up.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in the green, you have to take some off the table, if not all of it off the table. If I'm in it, I'm taking some off the table for a short-term swing account. You can leave a little bit if you want to play it, but I think there's going to be some volatility and there has to be profit taking. Probably the second half of the day on the 6th. So
maybe, yeah. I mean, I actually haven't sold any of it yet, so that's kind of my plan. I do end up planning on trimming some of this. So for those of you who are curious about what my plans are for it, I do plan on trimming some of this leading up to that vote. But I do also want to hold on to some just in case, because when we saw that Open Door actually went through, that's when it went actually berserk. So there could be a case where we see approval on this thing and it actually does go a little crazy. So
it went berserk for how long? Like a couple of days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it finally kind of cooled off.
I do feel compelled to remind everybody about LCA.
Yes.
Right?
It's the same thing.
Which GNOG, well, they remember the first reverse merger vote, it didn't go through because they didn't have enough votes.
Right.
And the stock tanked, which is why I played it. And then it went up again when it did get approved. They adjusted the date, and then it sold off again, which is why you guys are asking about it today. Nazreen, what's going on? Welcome to the crew. But I don't know what their bylaws are, but I anticipate there shouldn't be an issue as far as it's going through. But you should be aware and look into LCA if you're curious about exactly what happened, because while it should go through, it's not
always a guarantee,
right? Yeah, there's some things that could happen that could prevent it going through, even if it's delayed, which will hurt the stock short term. But if that happens, I would be scooping up shares.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 2.
What you got?
First, I got to say I'm moving away from Rocket for the time being. Now, you guys, if you're in the crew, you already know that I'm moving away from Rocket. Rocket is in my long term. It's staying in my long term. It's not going anywhere. And to be honest, Brad, I'm adding on my long term.
Yeah.
It keeps staying around this $20 range, and I'm fine with it doing it. It'll go up to $22, $23, come back to $20, might dip slightly below it. As long as it's above $18, I'm bullish on it. So I just want to say, I'm strictly speaking on short-term swing trading. I'm not, you guys know I'm out of Rocket for now.
Yeah.
And I'm just focusing on my long-term investment, so I'm extremely bullish. But what I want to say is, until supply returns, I'm not going to be talking about Rocket as much. But the two industries that should benefit, what I was thinking about today, one you've talked about, which is home building,
yes.
because supply is the issue here. It's
right.
not that there's any issues with the industry because the demand's high, values are going up, but supply is not there. So who do we look at? Home building, I think, is one. You've talked about D.R. Horton, which is a great buy. But I'm going to bring Zillow into this space.
Yeah.
And I think advertisers make a ton of money. And I think Zillow, although it's near its all-time highs, I think it's going to get on my radar. And I think it's going to find a way into my portfolio sooner than later for a couple reasons. So one, last quarter was their first profitable quarter. So you know me, big fundamentals. I feel really good about a company that moves into their profitability.
Yes.
I wish I would have gotten in before, but it's okay. They've had one quarter profitability. They had year-over-year growth last year of over 100%. So 2018 to 2019. This year, their quarter four results, I believe they're going to have another 100% growth plus some. So I'm really bullish on Zillow. I think that they're perfectly positioned for this issue with the supply, because if there's no supply, what are you going to be jumping on? You're going to be jumping on Zillow. Like, Is there anything on? Is there anything new? So I think a lot of people are going to be using Zillow in addition to just the market's doing really well. Mm-hmm. And they make their money on advertising. Like, to me, their growth model is beautiful, and it's the stuff that we look for, that we like. And I think their margins are going to continue to grow. I love Zillow. It's my number 2, and you guys are going to be hearing about it more.
There you have it. There's Zillow. For anybody who's wondering, I have not deviated from Rocket. I actually ended up adding to it last Thursday. So I actually have a bunch of Rocket. We still feel bullish on Rocket, but there's other alternatives out there that are also going to make a move. You talked about home builders. I like DHI as well. You can even look at Lowe's and Home Depot. And I've even talked about Wayfair also continuing to be bullish on that going into 2021. It's going to be a massive year for real estate. Definitely would be something that I would want to own going into this year. We look at the chart here on Zillow, though. It does look like it's been pulling back. So it's a really good one to kind of keep an eye on, Fat Man Zoom. So I think that it's actually held up pretty well up above 127. If by some chance this pulls back below that, might be a good opportunity to grab some on the cheap, especially, well, relatively speaking on the cheap, especially if it comes back to around 120. But even here, it seems to be a reasonable area to at least grab a starting position on at 129, where it closed at on New Year's Eve. So it's going to be a good one. Definitely a good pick.
Yeah,
were you going to say something else?
Yeah, because I already people are misconstruing what I'm saying. In our long-term swing trading account, we are full position size at Rocket, just over $20. So I'm specifically speaking about short-term swing trading, days and weeks. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I think I love anybody who's in at $20. You should be bullish on it. You should feel good about it in that range. And then it's around 20. Add to your long-term portfolio. Actually, I would do that. Yeah. That's what I would do. So I just want to say that we're full position in our long-term swing trading account. So that's how we feel about it. Yeah,
I saw somebody saying Open has more upside. I definitely think that, I've still remained bullish on Open Door as well. So if you're looking at Open Door, it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride. There's going to be some more volatility than you probably would see with Zillow. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of upside there too, given the size of Open Door and the company and where it's headed and the industry. So definitely agree with you there too. But again, looking at the chart, this is going to be a good one to hold on to, or to maybe even grab a starting position as it's pulled back down here to around 130. Okay, for me, the next one that I have, it's going to be another SPAC, which is ALAC. Now, you're not going to hear a lot of people talking about this one because it's not in that IPO, category. This is just another SPAC play, though, guys. I mean, I think SPACs are just going to become red hot. I mean, they already are, but I think even more so into this year. And ALAC could be one that you guys may want to consider. So they are a SPAC. The company is going to be merging into this ticker is going to be Solarmax, and if you guys aren't familiar with them, it's probably wouldn't be too surprising because they are only based in California, but they are a solar company, not just focused on solar panels, but also energy storage when it comes to battery packs and stuff like that attach to the side of your house. You guys have probably already seen those from Tesla, but they're in this space. They're already doing $100 million in revs a year, so I think that there's definitely a good opportunity, especially because ALAC has just really kind of started to move. They went through a definitive agreement back in October, and it's kind of been flying under the radar here and there, been pretty volatile. But I think leading up into January, it should be a good month for ALAC as people start to, as this starts to get more attention, I would say.
Bro, you're like a SPAC groupie.
I know.
Like a month ago, you weren't even on any SPACs.
I'm trying to uncover the ones that people aren't watching. I can't chase the ones that everybody else are, I guess.
No, I like it. I mean, it's like your whole list is SPACs. top 10 stocks for 2021. 9 of them are SPACs.
Are they really?
No, I'm kidding.
I was like, man, did we really go that hard?
All right, let's get into the good ones. So number 4 and 5 are meat and potatoes. My number 4 is Tesla. Now remember, this is a watch list. This isn't a buy list. My eyes are going to be on Tesla, particularly tomorrow. So let me give you guys the update of what happened. If you haven't heard, Tesla announced their delivery numbers on Saturday, and it culminated. So for the quarter, it was 180,000, roughly 180,000 deliveries of their vehicles.
Yeah.
That ended the year, and the year was the big number. The goal for the year, do you remember what the goal for the year was?
Was it 500?
Yep.
Yeah, 500K.
Yep, 500,000 units delivered. Now, keyword is delivered.
Yeah.
Bro, they hit 499,550. They missed it by 450 vehicles.
Yeah.
Now, I was on Don's show earlier, the Don Franz show. Check him out if you guys haven't seen him. And I said that there was something I was going to compel you, or I was going to convince you that they actually did hit that number of 500,000. You know how?
No.
All right. So if you read the press release on the bottom, I'm going to read to you an excerpt from it. Our delivery count should be viewed as slightly conservative, keyword, as we only count a car as delivered if it's transferred to the customer and all paperwork is correct. Final numbers could vary by up to 0.5% or more. So,
which is 500.
So they're saying their number's conservative and 0.5% or more. So I took half of that. So I actually took it the opposite. So if you took 0.25%, that would amount to 451 vehicles. That would put them at 500,001. So I think when actually earnings come out, it will be 500. I don't think it'll really be material as far as the stock because people are going to think what they think.
Right.
But to me, they hit the number. Nobody expected them to hit the number.
Not even in June.
September.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So nobody expected them to hit the number. This is incredible. And I'm looking at the headlines. So if you look at like the Tesla bulls, this is great. So you look at Tesla Daily Channel, he's optimistic about it. Elon's tweeting, this is awesome. Tesla's tweeting, this is awesome. And like, great. But then you look at other analysts and the headlines are like, Tesla misses.
Oh, yeah.
It's BS.
Any excuse to poo-poo on Tesla.
It's 500,000 they hit it.
Right.
And we're going to talk about NIO a little bit because they blew it out of the water, but like they're seeing massive growth.
Yes.
I feel really good about it. The response tomorrow is going to be interesting. My immediate reaction, my knee jerk when we were texting about it on Saturday was like, this stock's going to run down. I was thinking maybe it could go down to 640.
Yeah.
And then the more I've thought about it is maybe it doesn't. Like there might be a slight sell-off in the morning, but I think it might get bought back up.
Yeah.
But I think it's a coin flip. There's an argument to be made that this thing could go down.
I think there is a coin flip, and I would actually say that I agree with everything you're saying. The only thing is that I think that sometimes analysts are just looking for excuses to sell a stock, and I think that that's exactly what's going to be happening on Monday. So it could end up being a down day. We look at this on the chart. It obviously had a monster day on New Year's, went all the way up to $718. It's just been an amazing mover. We love Tesla. We're still bullish on it. I'm still bullish on it. I just think for the first day of the trading year, I think that we do see a little bit of a pullback. Don't be surprised if this comes back down below 700. Maybe even to 650 range. This is kind of where I'm seeing it on the chart here, around 658. It seems to be a reasonable area for a potential pullback. There could be an argument that you can make maybe around 675, but I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of profit taking. There's also an excuse now to sell it at this point. So I think that those are the potential areas we could see this pulling back from, but I do think that those would be areas that I would look to add to those dips, not necessarily a reason to abandon Tesla in any way, shape, or form.
Yep.
So for me, The next one, obviously, I think that we probably already alluded to this, is going to be NIO. Now, I already admitted that NIO was my biggest whiff of 2020. I was not very all that optimistic about the stock, and obviously it went up 1,100%. So forgive me. Sometimes we miss. But for this one, in particular, this week, we have NIO Day coming up, and there's a lot of hype surrounded around this. January 9th is supposed to be NIO Day, and so we already got sales numbers from them. They weren't expected until tomorrow or Tuesday, and then they came out on Saturday, and then there was a huge
Sunday,
a bunch of hype coming around. Yeah, it was Sunday, somewhere in between. Sometime this weekend, we got numbers from NIO that they actually came in 120% above what was expected as far as sales are concerned. The notes that I have here. They delivered 7,007 vehicles in December, and that's up from the 5,291 in November, and up 121% compared to December of last year. So that's a huge move, or huge expectations that they ended up beating on the surface. And I kind of actually want you to kind of talk to that a little bit, because we did end up kind of talking about what exactly 120% means for a company that's so small, and when you compare it to something like Tesla. Whereas, like, if it was 100% move from Tesla, it would be a much bigger deal than something like this.
Yeah, when you boil down the numbers, they had 7,000 vehicles sold.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. 120% cool, but that's still 7,000 vehicles. Yeah. I just told you that Tesla was 180,500 vehicles. Like, you're not even in the same stratosphere.
Yeah.
So, again, this is why I worry the manipulation. Yeah. Is like, they're not talking about 7,000 vehicles. They're saying it crushes it by 100. I think it was 110%. Right? Nobody's saying 7,000, but when you look deeper in the numbers, it's like, wait, they only produced 7,000. So it's going to take, like, at their pace, it might take 4 years for them to catch up. Yeah. And how further along is Tesla going to be than them? And that's to say that NIO's not going to have any hiccups along the way. Right. So now, let me say, in all fairness, while you have not been a fan of NIO, I actually have been fair with NIO, and I've said that I would say I'm bullish on it, and Tesla's still my number one, but actually NIO's been my number two. So I'm in no way am I dogging this company. I'm just saying, slow your roll with anointing NIO as like the number one EV stock. Right. I like it as the number two, but I only like it because two reasons. It's based in China, and it seems that the product is good. And number two is because their battery model, so their leasing model, I think that differentiates them from other companies. They've got to scale it. And one number I wanted to bring before I get into the bearish case is that they reported numbers on the battery model, which just recently launched, and 40% of customers that buy a NIO have chosen to use it. Mm-hmm. So what happens is you pay less up front, so the sticker price is less, and you're paying a monthly fee, and you get a new battery. I think it's every 5 years. I can't remember. But you get a new battery, which is the sort of I guess the number one fear when they did their market analysis for people buying, or concern when they're buying EVs. So I love that. And 40% is a great conversion rate. 40% of all people buying are choosing to do that. High margin, and I'm sure there's a way they refurbish them, so I love all that. But if it's 110 increase, the question I have for you, and I brought this up to Don, was nobody's talking about Li Auto, which is an EV company, reported their numbers on Friday. Very similarly, it was about 7,000 vehicles as well. They were up 120%. Yeah. Why aren't we hyped like Li? So my point is that there is so much competition. Tesla is clear number one, but I think you guys really need to dig into due diligence for picking your number two. I'm not going to be able to pick that for you, but I will say, for the reasons I mentioned before, I like NIO. The one thing I will say for you NIO bulls, to give you a little bit more confidence is look at their P&L statement. And they're doing a really good job of minimizing their margins, their losses. And I think that this year, they have an outside chance of becoming profitable, which will send this through the roof.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. And this is one of the big reasons why I didn't like it back when I said I didn't like it back in April, May, was because they didn't have a legitimate sedan that would actually appeal to most Chinese
Neo-Day.
And so they're going to be coming out with a sedan, which I think is going to be a far bigger deal than anything else they've done up to this point, because they're going to actually appeal to the demographic of China, the majority of them, because they just want tiny vehicles to scoot around in. And so most of the vehicles they've been selling right now have been SUVs and that sort of thing. And I think that this is going to appeal to a much larger population of people in Asia. And then obviously you've talked about the moving in Europe and all that good stuff. I think that that's probably what the bull case that I would make. Now, the bear case here is that the analyst numbers that we're getting are from Chinese analysts. We still have yet to have American analysts go in and really kind of get those hard numbers. So there's still just a lot of question marks. And this has always been my problem with NIO, is the unaudited financials. You don't have U.S. analysts in there that are really getting your good, accurate numbers as far as projections and all that's concerned. So those are some of my bearish cases still. But, you can't argue the fact that the stock is more than likely going to go up. Now, for me, watching this, I think that we'll see something similar that we saw on NIO leading up to battery, or from Tesla leading up to battery day, where there was this huge run up on leading up to battery day, and then it just fell on its face. So I think that looking at NIO, we could see you've already got a catalyst that jumpstarts this with the delivery numbers. And then you have a NIO day coming up that's going to basically probably lead up, encourage more buying leading up to the end of the week. And so I think that for NIO, I'm very bullish on NIO for the week in general. I would just be very hesitant to hold on to this leading up after NIO day. So I think the play here is going to be going up to it. If it breaks up over $50 a share, I think we do see a really nice continuation out of this, looking at the chart, and I can pull this up here for you right now. And I think that that's going to be the play. If you're looking to get a starter position, look for that break at $50, because we could see a really nice continuation. We could see a really nice move out of NIO leading up to the end of the week. Yeah,
and to be clear, if you guys didn't pick up on this, they are unveiling the sedan on NIO Day.
Yes.
And then potentially some updates on their autonomous driving, just following the footsteps of Tesla. This is the biggest misconception. So Steve King asks, is it a buy? I think NIO is a buy this week.
Yeah.
I plan on swinging it, maybe even a day trade, but I'm not going to hold it through Investor Day. We've talked about this as a misconception, is like they've got to come out with something else. So the hype's going to bring them in to NIO Day, but if all they do is announce the sedan, they're probably going to mention increased exposure in Europe because they're entering into Europe, and then autonomous driving. If they give you nothing else, then the stock's most likely going to sell off,
right?
Because you're not giving news. So these type of things, whether it's earnings or whether it's an investor day, you got to give me something that we're not expecting. So don't tell me that the sedan's going to keep it moving afterwards. There's going to be a run up.
Yep.
So I love it this week. I think it's a great play this week. I have more confidence in it this week than I do Tesla, which might be blasphemous. But short-term swing, I love it.
Yeah. It should be a really nice move.